especially Europeans, are terrified of Muslim countries returning to the true Islam. And their fears are not centered around the Middle East, but even Asian countries like Malaysia, which has been a Muslim country for centuries. Let's check an example.
Les îles de Perhentian, au large de la Malaisie. Un paradis au sable blanc et à l'eau transparente. Ici, une expression a été inventée, le Smiling Islam, l'islam souriant et tolérant. Mais dans le pays, certains s'attaquent à ce modèle. Le petit paradis va-t-il pouvoir tenir encore longtemps?
The entitlement of the Europeans seem to make them feel like Asian countries are for nothing but they're empty touristic enjoyments, and they are seeing Muslims being true to themselves as a threat. They only accept the false Islam, which tolerates everything and condemns nothing, except perhaps Islamic teachings. But as we all know, the one who tolerates everything stands for nothing, and we, Muslims, stand for something. By labeling the watered-down version of our deen's smiling Islam, they effectively are portraying actual Islam as the opposite, while in fact, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Smiling in your brother's face is an act of charity, making smiling part of our religion. We just don't smile at filth." The one strategy they use to portray Islam negatively is using the word radical, with one goal: portray true Islam as a fringe ideology, and secularism, liberalism, and modernism as ideas our religion is fine with. And sadly, that bullying is working on some Muslims. But what are the arguments they use to express their worries? What is so menacing to the little hedonistic paradises they wish to build in our countries? Terrorism? Violent uprising attempts? Not even close.
Le parti veut réformer la justice, mais aussi l'éducation. Prochaine étape, modeler le cerveau des enfants. Il y a des écoles coraniques partout. Plusieurs heures par semaine d'éducation islamique et les 5 prières quotidiennes. Aucun doute sur le projet pédagogique de l'école.
On essaye d'aider la nouvelle génération à apprendre le Coran par cœur. Ensuite, ces garçons pourront eux-mêmes enseigner aux générations futures à apprendre le Coran par cœur.
Des enfants formatés.
This pretty much sums up what they're afraid of. Islamic education. Knowledge is indeed the poison of the ignorant. The peaceful act of sitting and memorizing the Book of Allah is enough of a reason for them to feel threatened. The nations endlessly bombing or supporting the bombing of innocents are seeing the pursuit of knowledge as extremism. But one other thing, the ones who want to convert the whole world to liberalism and secularism seem to be afraid of is da'wah. You see, Muslims are not selfish and don't see the blessing of Islam as something you can hide and keep to yourself. Islam is not based on ethnicity, and everybody deserves to at least hear the message. Muslims, as followers of the primordial religion, a religion for whole mankind, are indeed witnesses over humanity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "And whose words are better than someone who calls others to Allah, does good, and says, I am truly one of the Muslims." So naturally, peaceful da'wah is something every Muslim is proud of. But Westerners somehow seem to take issue with it.
Il existe même un bureau d'islamisation des peuples de la forêt.
Aujourd'hui, il y a environ 15% des autochtones qui se sont convertis à l'islam. Le but que nous a donné notre directeur est d'arriver à 100% d'autochtones convertis dans 3 ans.
Pour arriver à 100%, aucune limite, tous les moyens sont bons.
A blatant lie for the journalist, as forced conversions are strictly prohibited in Islam, and one must mean his shahada for it to be valid.
Convertir tout le monde. Personne ne doit leur échapper.
The abrasive words used by the journalist are not randomly chosen, and they have the sole purpose of tarnishing the image of those who devote their lives to doing da'wah. But as frustrated as Westerners may be, the Muslim countries they saw as nothing but resorts for their paid vacations are returning to the true Islam and investing and intellectually reconquering their lands after centuries of ideological